The 3 longest hours of my life were on June 30th, 2012. That was the day my mother died. Then, at the age of 94, she was struggling with congestive heart failure. Early that morning, the dreaded phone call came from my sister saying that my mother was dying. So I jumped in my car and caught a 2-hour flight to Baltimore from Logan Airport. As I was sitting on the plane, I was praying the rosary for my mother, a rosary that she had given me in 1990, shortly after my brother Charlie died. It was a beautiful crystal blue-colored rosary and small silver crucifix that was now gray-black with tarnish. This rosary had so many memories, especially remembering my mother praying in her bedroom early in the morning, all through my childhood. She prayed this rosary after my father left for work while the rest of us were getting ready for school. And her arms would rest on the white bedspread, the chenille spread, and the beads would move softly and steadily between her fingers as she stared out the window of her bedroom or occasionally lowered her head. We knew that we were not supposed to disturb her when she was praying, but I would often watch her from the hallway, her lips moving softly with the rhythm of the prayer. Her eyes seemed remote yet focused, looking and not really looking at all, there and not there. After about 25 minutes, she'd come downstairs to us who were eating breakfast, and you'd see those little inverted bumps on her forearms from the chenille bedspread. It was those faithful morning rituals of her saying the rosary that first drew me to take up the practice of saying the rosary myself. And now here I was on the plane, flying to Baltimore, begging the Blessed Mother in between the decades not to let my mother die before I could be by her side and anoint her. The last line of the Hail Mary is, "Pray for us now and at the hour of our death." It is such a powerful request that tells me God does not want us to be alone, especially at the moment of death. And He gives us a woman who waits for us and helps us to face the ordeal of dying. Our Blessed Mother promises to accompany us at the final hour of our life. The first lines of the Hail Mary repeat the angel's greeting to Our Lady at the Annunciation, which means that each time we say that prayer, it's a kind of reenactment of the Annunciation. How do we even know about the Annunciation in the first place? Well, I think only one answer makes sense. Mary told the disciples about it. And maybe she did so when the disciples required the mystery the most, when they were in the upper room, despondent and filled with perilous doubt after Jesus had died. Maybe this is when the Blessed Mother said something along these lines. You need to know how it all began for me. For if you constantly return to the story that I tell you, you will always find reasons to hope. And then Mary told them about how mercy came out of nowhere and made a promise to her that would transform the world through her. All was darkness and chaos in the world before the Annunciation, but by the power of her fiat, her yes to God, Jesus entered the world to change everything forever. And something similar would happen. Our Lady most likely encouraged her son's followers if they would dare to make her yes to Jesus as well. When I arrived in Baltimore, I rented a car and drove the final hour to Annapolis, Maryland. I silently pleaded for my cell phone not to ring because I knew that if it did, it would be my sister Vicky calling me to tell me the unfortunate news that my mother had died. Fortunately, the call didn't come. And I arrived at the nursing home, and there was my sister standing at the entrance. I can't say how happy the sight of her made me. She led me past the nursing station to my mother's bedroom, and my mother's breathing was labored, and she couldn't recognize any of us. She had slipped into a gentle coma. So I put on my stole, got out the ritual and the sacred oil, and with my brothers and sisters, we prayed and anointed our dying mother. Within a matter of hours, her breathing became shorter and much shallower. At one point, I took a rosary from my hands and put it in her hands. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, my mother died peacefully. I truly believe that she came face to face with the source of grace and was carried and taken with Christ. And we were given exactly what we prayed for at the hour of her death.